Hey guys, what's going on? Dr. Frank here, founder of AddictionMindset recovery coaching programs. And in today's brief video, I want to talk to you guys about relapse. If you're addicted to smoking, if you're addicted to vaping, if you're addicted to nicotine, you know exactly the amount of frustration and just feelings of guilt and shame and all the horrible things that come along with relapse that I'm going to talk about in today's video. I'm going to first talk about what it is that makes relapse so bad, and then I'm going to discuss some simple tips and tricks how you can avoid relapse in the future. Here at Addiction Mindset Recovery Coaching, we help people quit nicotine, THC, energy drinks, and pornography, so be sure to subscribe and like this video if you find it valuable. I want to start by painting an example scenario for you guys. So let's say you have a best friend and your best friend has lost 50 pounds over the last 6 months. But in month number 7, they gained 10 pounds back. So now they've only lost a total of 40 pounds. This friend calls you one night, they're super depressed, they're super down on themselves, and they're asking you for your input. They're asking you what they should do, how they should handle this situation. Now, before you continue on in the video, I want you to pause, okay? And I want you to tell me what you would tell this friend. Type in the comments what you would tell this friend. And then restart the video. Okay, now, hopefully you're back and you typed it in the comments. If you are even a halfway decent human being, you would tell them, hey, you've done a really good job. I understand that you're discouraged. I understand that. But look, you've still lost 40 pounds. You've still made an incredible amount of progress. You've picked up your habits, you've cleaned up your nutrition, you're in the gym 3 days a week, you've worked extremely hard, and I don't want you to discredit any of that hard work. I want you to keep going because you know how to lose weight, you know how to work out now, you have the right mentality to do it, you had a little hiccup, that's okay, get back to it. So tell me this, hopefully you agree with me that you would tell your friend those things. Why is it that as people who are addicted to nicotine, people are addicted to smoking, addicted to vaping, why do we beat ourselves up? Why do we tell ourselves, hey, I relapsed, it's not worth it. I quit, I give up. I'm not gonna try to quit again. I can't. Why do we tell ourselves that? Well, I have an explanation for you as to why that is. It's because we are failing to call out the lies that addictive voice in our brain is telling us. That addictive voice in your brain is always lying to you. It's always telling you something. And you need to start to call out BS because you know quitting's worth it. There's a reason why you want to quit. And you need to start to call out the lies that addictive voice is telling you. Now, what is it that makes a relapse so bad? Why is it so easy to get caught up in those feelings? There's two primary reasons. Reason number one, relapse creates a mentality of I can't. And that is one of the most dangerous, those are the two most dangerous words in the history of mankind. I can't. And when you say you're going to do something and you try and do it over and over again and you continually fail, relapse creates a subconscious mentality of I can't, I'm not capable of. And slowly this I can't mentality is going to spill over into other areas of your life. Maybe into your relationships, maybe into building your business, maybe into getting that job promotion, maybe into passing that class that you have to pass at school. But it's going to start to creep into other areas of your life. And that's going to lead to a lot of depression and a lot of anxiety. Because when we walk around saying I can't, we don't view ourselves as having any level of control over the things that happen to us in life. And this is why relapse is such a horrible feeling and why we should do everything we can at all costs to avoid relapsing. Now, the other reason that relapse is so bad is because it damages our ability to see something through. We say we're going to do something and then we don't see it through. Think about this. Are there other areas in your life right now that you're not seeing something through? What things have you said you're going to do, but then have you become complacent and not seen through in life? And I want you to ask yourself, is this because of addiction? Do you think possibly that these episodes of relapse and the subconscious mentality that addiction has created is to blame for this behavior? I can tell you in my personal experience with addiction, absolutely 100% addiction was to blame. Now, I have some really good news for you guys, though, if you're watching this, okay? I have some really good news. If you get knocked down 100 times, it might be that 101st time that you need to get back up. And that's where you might find success. Now, why is that really good news? Most people will go through their entire life never getting back up again. And in order to create something, in order to achieve something incredible, it's going to take a lot of tries. If you're trying to build a business, if you're trying to build a YouTube channel, if you're trying to get into that relationship, do well in school, do well in your career, your faith community, whatever it is, chances are you're going to fail a million times. But guess what? If you became used to failure and then you succeeded after trying 1,000 times, you're going to know in the future to never give up. And this is one of the things that makes someone who is a recovered smoker, a recovered alcoholic, a recovered substance use abuser, this is one of the things that makes them such incredibly strong people. And many of these people go on to achieve incredible things. Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, the My Pillow guy, Grant Cardone, the list goes on and on and on for celebrities and people who have recovered from addictions who have gone on to create amazing lives for themselves. The reason is because they don't give up, because they know they've failed at something 1,000 times before, but that success might be right around that corner. And maybe success for you is right on the other side of this YouTube video. Maybe that's where you're going to say, I'm done with this and I'm going to see it through. And yeah, maybe this is my 3,000th time saying that, but this time I mean it. Maybe success is right around the corner for you. Now, why do most people relapse? What are some things that causes people to relapse on nicotine? The cravings become too intense. The withdrawal symptoms, which craving is a withdrawal symptom, becomes too intense. And they get tied up in the cravings. They get wrapped up in the cravings. If that's the case, I want you guys to go watch my other videos on how to manage and how to deal with nicotine withdrawal, okay? Because I have some very good insight as to that. 2, it might have to do with the people that you're hanging around. Were you with a group of people who is still smoking a lot, still using a lot of the substance? Maybe it's time you change up your friend group. And they're not bad people. You don't need to look down upon them, but maybe you guys aren't on the same page anymore. And maybe it would be in your best interest to get away from them for a little bit. Because chances are, if you're not on the same page about substance use, there's probably a lot of other things that you guys aren't on the same page about. Maybe they don't want the same things out of life that you want out of life. Perhaps that's true. One of my favorite quotes, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Dan Pena, one of my favorite quotes. Were you under the influence of other substances when you relapsed? Were you under the influence of alcohol and you relapsed on nicotine? Were you under the influence of a lot of caffeine and you relapsed on nicotine? Were you under the influence of weed and you relapsed on nicotine? Maybe it's time you cut out some other substances as well too. Maybe that addicted brain of yours is at a point where it can't handle being on other substances. I'm not saying forever. Maybe you can return to some of those other things if you enjoy having some alcohol, if you enjoy smoking a little bit, and it's not an addiction for you. Maybe you can return to enjoying those things, but maybe not right now while you're trying to quit using nicotine products. And the other major reason I think people relapse is because they don't have patience. Recovering from an addiction, growing in your sobriety requires a lot of patience. And a lot of people quit and they say, okay, I should be feeling better now. It's been 2 weeks. It's been a month. It's been 3 months. It's been a year. I still am stressed. I still have some anxiety. Be patient. Be patient with the process. If you grow impatient, you're going to grow agitated and you're going to grow anxious and you're going to get stressed. And chances are that's going to lead to a relapse. Remind yourself, recovery takes time and you have a lot of time ahead of you to build a better life for yourself, to build a better future for yourself. Be patient. Patience is an unbelievably good quality to have. It was something that I never had. It's something that I'm still working on developing today. But for the love of God, be patient. I promise it's worth it. And lastly, my last tip of this video, start to use front sight focus, okay? If there's situations in the past that have caused you to relapse on nicotine, that have caused you to relapse on whatever, weed, alcohol, what were those situations and how can you avoid them in the future? Come up with a plan to avoid relapse. Chances are you've gone out of your way to plan your use. I'm going to get in the car, I'm going to drive to the vape shop, I'm going to buy this vape, I'm going to pay with this credit card, and I'm going to go home and smoke in this spot. You plan your use. Why don't you put the same amount of effort into planning your sobriety, into planning your recovery? Come up with a plan to prevent relapse. What situations, what scenarios, what circumstances in the past triggered the relapse, and how can you prevent that in the future? And the last thing I'll say, and I just thought of this now, when it comes to avoiding relapse, is a lot of people will start feeling really good when they quit an addiction. They'll say, you know what, I quit smoking weed, I quit smoking nicotine, I quit vaping 4 weeks ago and I feel good. And how am I going to celebrate that? By using nicotine, by using the drug, by using the substance. And then, boom, the cycle starts all over again. The reason why you are feeling good is because you've made changes to something in your life that was no longer serving you any purpose. Remind yourself of that. The reason the person lost weight was because they started eating healthy. The last thing you want to do is celebrate weight loss by going and pounding a cake. It doesn't make any sense. You're going to feel like crap again. You're going to gain weight back again. Call out those lies. Call out those lies. When you start feeling good and addiction tells you, hey, you can use again. You feel good. You got it this time. You're fine. Call out that BS. No, the reason I feel good is because I've made improvements to my life and I've made significant changes because I wasn't feeling good before. I wasn't feeling good when I was using that addiction. So start to call those lies out, start to make some of these changes, and hopefully you will never relapse again. And super important, relapse is always 100% unacceptable. You have to accept that mentality. You have to adopt the mentality that relapse on nicotine is 100% unacceptable. Because yes, relapse is part of the disease that is addiction, but don't use that as a justification. I can't tell you how many times I've used that exact sentence as a justification for continuing to use nicotine. Oh, it's part of my addiction. Relapse is normal. No, it's unacceptable. I understand it happens. I don't want you to beat yourself up. I want you to just move on. But it's not acceptable, no matter the situation, no matter the circumstances. All right, guys, I hope this video helps. I obviously had a lot of fun making this one because it was something I really struggled a lot with. So be sure to follow me into the next video where I talk about some ways that you can manage nicotine withdrawals, because that's a common reason for relapse. I'll see you there.